Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I am the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. So today's webinar is the next or the second one in a five-part series of BNI Connect webinars specifically designed towards new members or people that are just logging into BNI Connect for the first time. Yesterday, we went over some of the basics, overview of BNI Connect, what it's all about, some statistics, and how to fill out your profile. Today, what we're going to be talking about is giving and tracking referrals online. So we're going to talk about all of the online slips. How do you pass referrals? How do you submit one-to-ones? And how do you track all that stuff going forward? Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to connect with other members. So looking at the social media side of BNI Connect and how we can utilize the global nature of BNI Connect. Then on Thursday, we're going to take a deep dive into BNI Connect and look at some of the member tools and reports. And we're going to end it all off this week on Friday with visitors, how to invite visitors and how to register visitors and some of the benefits for doing so. So before we get started with today's content, a couple of quick housekeeping things. This is a live webinar, so if you have any questions as we're going through the material today, please feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like to. The way to ask questions is to type the question in on the question panel here in the GoToWebinar software. I'll see that question pop up on my screen and I'll be able to answer it. If it has something to do with what we're doing on screen, I'll answer it right then. Otherwise, I'll save it up and I will leave plenty of time for questions at the end. Now, we are scheduled for about a half hour worth of content. It's about how long it takes to go through this particular functionality. Now, that being said, I am happy to stay on the call until every single question is answered. So if there's a lot of questions, keep them coming. I will answer them. Stay here till for an hour or 2 hours or longer, however long you guys need to fully understand and comprehend what's going on here in BNI Connect. Finally, we are recording this session as we record all of our webinars. This session will be available in two places. You'll be able to find it on the support site. You can always get to the support site by clicking on the question mark here in the upper right-hand corner. So if you see that question mark, click on that and that will bring you over to the support site. Right there. That will bring you to the support site and you can find all the recordings as well as the upcoming schedule. You can also find all of this on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Again, that's youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. That's where you'll find all of our recordings, the entire archive. All right, so let's get started with today's content, which is going to be on the online slips. Now, here's the deal. BNI, we've been around for a long time, and for the longest time, what we did was we showed up to the meeting, and to record our activity for the week, we had little pieces of paper that we would pass around the room. There was a paper for referrals, there was a paper for one-to-one slips, for thank you for closed business, for CEUs, all of that activity. We'd fill out that little piece of paper and we would pass that in, signifying that we had that activity that week. Well, the vice president would then take that back with them and they'd count them all up and they'd put them into our PALMS report. PALMS, by the way, stands for Present, Absent, Late Medical Substitute. It's the attendance report. And they would also track all the referrals given, the referrals received, and the one-to-ones. This is our accountability and our statistics here in BNI. Well, a couple of years ago, about a year after BNI Connect was released, said, wouldn't this be great if we could do this online, if we could be able to share this information, be able to track it even deeper than just tracking the statistics. And that's when the online slips were born. So that's what we're going to talk about today. A couple of things. This is the home screen, by the way. When you log into BNI Connect, this is what you see. We have a couple of things on the home screen here. We have the we have the My BNI Business. Now, the My BNI Business is really your personal report. So that's your personal activity that's happening in BNI. Now, regardless of whether you're using the online slips or whether you're using the paper slips in your chapter, this information should show accurately your history here in BNI, because it is just based on the PALMS report. So once the vice president submits their weekly PALMS report, this information will show you your personal activity. And that includes the referrals, the thank you for closed business, the visitors, and the one-to-ones and the CEUs. You'll notice there's two figures here. There is the last 12 months. So that's the last rolling 12 months in BNI that you've been a member. And if you're a long-term member like I am, I've been in BNI since 2002. It goes back to when I first started, and it grabs all my statistics for the last 12 years and puts them into one list for me there. Now, I find this to be extremely convenient. When I first joined BNI, we didn't have a system like this. So maybe once in a while, once a quarter or a couple of times a year, our vice president would print out this information and bring it to the chapter meeting. Then I could figure out, well, how am I doing? How are my referrals? How are my one-to-ones? Now I can log into BNI Connect anytime I want to and follow up on my activity for the last 12 months and my lifetime. Now, there is a more detailed report that's available to you here as well. If you notice, there's a link at the top here that says My Personal Participation Report. And what this is, this will show you where these numbers are coming from. If I click on the My Personal Participation Report, this will go back and pull the last 1 year's worth of personal statistics week by week. And what I love about this report is it really goes into detail. It shows me what my attendance status was. So P stands for present, A stands for absent without a substitute, P is present, M is medical, and then we also have L for late and S for substitute. So PALMS, that's the PALMS report, present, absent, late, medical, substitute. Going across the top, we also have RGI and RGO. So RG stands for referrals given. RGI would be an inside referral given. So referrals given inside and referrals given outside. An inside referral is when two members do business with each other. So let's say that the carpet cleaner in my chapter, I need to have my carpets cleaned at home, so I use his services. He comes to my house and he cleans my carpets. That would be an inside referral because the referral stayed within the chapter members. Nobody new was introduced to the relationship. An outside referral is when I introduce the carpet cleaner to anybody else that I know. It could be my brother, it could be my mother, it could be my father-in-law, my cousin, my best friend's neighbor's wife's girlfriend. It could be anybody that I know. As long as it's a new relationship, that would be an outside referral. The same thing with RRI and RRO, a referral received. RR is referral received, inside and outside. So for every referral, there's two sides to that referral relationship, the person that gives the referral and the person that receives the referral, and that's what we're tracking here. V stands for visitors. So when a visitor comes to the chapter, if it was you that invited them, you will get that visitor credit. And then we have one-to-ones. That is when two members meet with each other to learn more about each other's business. TYFCB, that's a big acronym. It stands for Thank You for Closed Business. So if somebody passes me a referral and that referral turns into money, what I do is I thank the other person for generating that money for my business. This number is not how much money I've made in BNI. This is how much money I've generated for other members in my chapter. So essentially, this is all of the referrals that have closed after I've passed them to other members. CEUs, a CEU is a chapter education unit. So for example, you guys are all here on today's webinar. Make sure that you submit a CEU slip for 1 credit for being here today. And we'll show you an example of that in a few minutes. So if we scroll down this report, you can see it has my week by week by week activity. It'll show me a summary of my attendance, and then it will also show me the members that I've sponsored into BNI, and then any training that I have attended. What I also love about this report is that this is a great way to go in and troubleshoot. So let's say that you were marked as being absent, but you don't really think you were absent that week. You can figure out exactly which week you were marked absent for and be able to talk to the vice president about maybe getting that corrected. Makes it much easier than looking at a big long total and saying, hey, I don't have 3 absences, one of those must be wrong. You can actually figure out which week it was here through this report. So now the one number here that isn't part of the PALMS report is this first number, which is revenue received to my business. Revenue received. That is essentially how much money have you made in BNI? How much money has been generated for your business? Now, this is something that we've never tracked before, and it's something that we don't track publicly. However, when you submit a thank you for closed business slip electronically, you're saying to the other person, hey, thank you for generating that for my business. So what we'll do is we'll keep track of it for you and sum it all up and give you how much money you've thanked other people for. In other words, how much money you've made for your business. Now that number, because it's not stored in the PALMS report and it is private information, that is only available if you use the electronic slips, which we're going to show you in just a second here. All right, so that's the top of the report. Now let's look at the bottom part of the screen. The bottom part of the screen, we have the ability to do all of that weekly activity. So we can either submit slips, we can track our referrals, or we can review the slips that we've submitted. So the first 4 have the 4 different types of slips. We have thank you for closed business, referrals, one-to-ones, and CEUs. Then we can track referrals. So when somebody sends you a referral through BNI Connect, you can track the status of it. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. And then we have the review. So once you submit a slip online, you can then recall the details of that slip, which again is something a lot different than handing in a piece of paper. Once you hand in that piece of paper, it's gone. However, when you submit the online slips, we can always go back and review them. So let's take a look at how this works. So let's say that I have a referral for somebody in my chapter and I'd like to pass that referral to them. Now you can do this anytime before your chapter meeting or even during your chapter meeting, though I wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend doing this before your chapter meeting so that you're paying attention during everybody's weekly presentations. But let's say I have a referral. What I would want to do is go in and submit that referral slip. So what this is going to do is it's going to pull up the referral slip, and this should be pretty familiar. It's the same exact slip that we would use on a weekly basis in our chapter meeting if we were using paper. It has all the same formatting on it. All I need to do is select the person from my chapter that I'm giving the referral to. So John Barth, he actually owns a company called Earth Care Farms. They do composting. They're professional composters. Go around, collect people's garbage and turn it into usable soil. Let's say I have a referral for John Barth. He likes to get in touch with restaurants so he can recycle all of their food. And the referral was to Chippy's Diner. And this was an outside referral. I gave Chippy's their card and told them that John was going to be giving him a call. They're located at 12 Main Street in Wakefield, and their telephone number. I can also put in their email address if I have it, so bob@chippys.com, and any comments. They would love to recycle their food scraps. I can then rate this on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being a hot referral and 1 being just a little bit more informational. I'm going to give this one a 4. Now down at the bottom I have a couple of options. I can submit this one and immediately bring up a blank one. So if you have 2, 3, 4 referrals that you need to keep track of, you can do one after the other, or I can just submit this one. And now that referral has been submitted. The great part about this is that he will get a notification immediately. So here's a referral that I received recently from somebody in my chapter, from Christy Armstrong. I can see it came from Christy. This one was only rated a 1 on the referral scale, but she put in the referral's name and the phone number, and what the problem was. And I can give her a call by clicking on her phone number, getting in touch with the referral right away, or I could click on the phone number down here to get back in touch with Christy and get more information about this referral. In both cases, it helps to speed up the referral process. You don't have to wait until your weekly chapter meeting in order to physically hand off that referral. You can do it right away. So as soon as you get off the phone with somebody, as soon as you're done meeting with them in person, you can make that referral immediately. Now, once I've submitted the referral, it will immediately appear in my referral slips. That's how I know that it was submitted successfully. If I click on Review My Referral Slips, by default, it's going to show the last month, but I can look at any time frame I want to. We've been using this since 2002, so I could go all the way back to 2010, even though there wouldn't be any from 2010. And I can review every single referral that I've ever passed through BNI Connect. No more keeping a bunch of referral slips with a rubber band around them down in my desk drawer anymore. Now I can keep them all electronically. And we can see here's John Barth, Chippy's Diner, and it has all of the information about it. Now what you'll notice here is that at the end, it has a status of draft. And what that means is that it has not been officially submitted yet statistically by the Vice President. Now, we meet on Thursdays. My chapter meets on Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. You're welcome to visit if you're ever in Rhode Island. After our chapter meeting, our Vice President will go back to their office and they'll take the attendance, and if anybody passed in any paper slips, they'll make those updates to the POMS reports. Only then will this go from draft to completed. Once it's completed, then all of the POMS report information will be updated. So, even if I submit 10 referrals right now, my referrals given will still stay at 35 until my Vice President submits the report this week. But again, they will appear in my Review My Slips immediately. Now, the rest of the slips are very, very similar. Let's say I have a thank you for closed business. Someone passed me a referral, and that turned into closed business. I want to thank them for generating that money for my business. So I'd click on Submit Thank You for Closed Business slip. Now, you'll notice that there's, aside from the people in my chapter, there's usually another button here, depending on what country you're in, but in most countries, there's another button that says Search Cross Chapter. And what this allows you to do is, we are part of a bigger network. We have not only the chapters that we meet at, but the other chapters that are in our region as well. And you can record activity with other people in your region. Now, right now it is limited just to the people in your general area. For me, for example, I'm in the Rhode Island area, so I can pass referrals to anybody else in Rhode Island. However, I can't pass any referrals to people in, for example, Arizona or California or Canada or the UK. I am limited to just the people in my region. But I can click on Search Cross Chapter. And one thing to keep in mind is that this is a database search, so it's usually better to put less information in than more because it is looking for exact matches. So I have this referral partner here in Rhode Island. He's a web designer that does a lot different stuff than the web designer in my chapter. So I like to use him for certain things. His name is Dave Cordero. I can never remember whether he goes by his full name, Dave or David. So for now, I'm just going to put D-A-V in there so that I get a partial match. And then Cordero, I can never remember how that's spelled, so I'm just going to put a couple of letters of that last name in. And here he is. He comes back with a match, David. So it is David, not Dave. And I can see the chapters in. This is a match, so I want to go ahead and put a little circle in the area there and say, are you sure? And now I can see the thank you is going to Dave Cordero. So he had passed me a referral a while back that ended up being $2,500 in business to my business. It was new business, and it was an outside referral. The great thing about this is I can also record my comments, and the comments will stay private to you and only you. Nobody else has access to your comments. So you can even put, because this is just a reminder to yourself when you go to review it later, you can put the name of the client in there if you want to. Nobody else can see that. So this was for Joe Schmo for a new server. Okay, and once again, if I have multiple thank you for closed business, I can do save and new. Otherwise, I'm going to click submit just to submit this one slip. Now, just like with the other slips, once I submit it, it will immediately be in my slips report. So if I click on the thank you for closed business slips, by default, it's going to show me the last 6 months. And here's my slip that I entered, David Cordero, for $2,500. It even has my notes that I put in there, and it is letting me know that this is still in draft status. Again, my vice president, once they submit that report on Thursday, then that will say completed, and it will be part of my official statistics everywhere. One-to-ones, they work the same way. We just click on submit one-to-one slip. I can choose somebody from my chapter, or I can go cross-chapter, whichever you need to do. Say that I met with Janet Birtwell. She's the framer in our chapter, and we met at Jan's office. And new line of corner samples. I put in the date that we met. We met yesterday. And once again, if I have multiple to record, I can click Save and New, or I can just click Submit. The thing about one-to-ones, both people will get credit for that one-to-one. So Jan will also get a 1 for having a one-to-one. It will also show up in her one-to-one report, as well as in my one-to-one report. And if Jan tries to submit another one-to-one on the same day with me, it will give her a warning saying, hey, you don't have to. This one has already been submitted. But once again, I can look at my one-to-one report here, review my one-to-one slips, and click go, and I can see the one-to-ones that I've had. Once again, this one is still in draft mode. Finally, we have the CEU slips. The CEU slips, you can insert CEU slips each time you take some type of a training. I highly recommend that right now, if you happen to be logged into BNI Connect, go ahead and click that Submit CEU button and make sure you give yourself one quantity for today's webinar. Go ahead and click Submit, and you will have one CEU lined up for this week. And of course, there's the Review My CEU Slips. Now, one thing that people always ask me is this is all well and good. We're submitting all these slips online. Well, why do we even bother having a meeting anymore? Well, we are a face-to-face networking organization. As Dr. Meisner likes to say, you can't get a haircut over the phone. We need to be around other networkers and be around our chapter in order to build that credibility and that visibility in order to lead to profitability. However, when we get to that part of the meeting, because we submitted all this stuff online, we still want to win the door prize. We still want to have something to show for it. The vice presidents still want to have something for the slips, for the referral reality check, excuse me. For that, we do have here at the bottom, it says print your weekly slips. In some languages, it may say personal meeting activity report. What this will do is this will show you the last week's worth of activity. It's designed to print the day before your meeting. And what you'll notice is that the referral slips, when I go to print this, will print in the same approximate size and shape as a regular referral slip. And what that means is that I can pass this in at the meeting, so I can be chosen for the door prize. My vice president can also use that in the future for a referral reality check. Now, the rest of the information is just in a list format. So I can stand up and say, I had a referral for John. I can pass that in. I had a referral for Chris. I can pass that in. But then I had a thank you for closed business to Angela, to Dante, to David. I had one-to-ones with David and Janet. I had one CEU this week. So this allows me to keep that part of the meeting very structured, and we absolutely 100% want to stand up and celebrate this activity every single week. Do not let this part of the meeting go by. This is what impresses especially the visitors that are there and lets the chapter know what is going on. This is the excitement portion of the meeting. All right, now there's one additional function. When your referral partner starts passing you referrals online through BNI Connect, you can also track those. So right here we have a received referrals report. And once again, I can go through this for going back to when we first started using it, and I can review all of the referrals that I've received from members through BNI Connect. One of the things that I love for this is that this is my way of going back also and checking to see which ones I need to make sure that I turn in thank you for closed business for. Now, this is just a static report. You'll notice that there's some things here called presentation, follow-up, status. I can keep track of how I'm doing on the referrals as well through BNI Connect. So, for example, there is a track your referrals received online. And if I go into track my referrals received, let's see, let me go back a little bit. This is actually the test system. So here we go. We have a couple of referrals here. So here's this referral that I received to John Larnd, and I received that on the 6th of November. I can go in and edit this referral. I can update any information if I need to, but most importantly, I can also change the status. So I can change this from pending, closed, no sale. So if I closed this deal, I can also mark when did I contact them. So I contacted them on the 3rd. I met with them on December 8th, and I followed up again with them on January the 4th. I can adjust anything else on here. If I do put TYFCB, if I put thank you for closed business in here, please keep in mind that this is just for your own private use. You still need to submit a thank you for closed business slip. All of the information here is for your own use. It does not impact the POMS report. Once I make those changes, I can go ahead and click submit. And that information will be updated, not just for me, but on my referral partner. If my referral partner goes to review his referral slips, the one thing that he'll notice is that there is a shared tracking sheet status column. And once I mark that as complete, for Ken, my referral partner, he'll see that that referral has been closed. And that, my friends, is the online slips in BNI Connect. Again, you have your My BNI Business report up here that shows all your activity. Again, this is the official activity once it's been submitted after your meeting. We have the My Personal Participation report, which can give you a deeper view into your last year's worth of activity. We can submit any of the slips on a daily and weekly basis, and then we can review all of those slips going forward. So we are at the bottom of the hour, and what I'd like to do is I want to make sure I'm respectful of everybody's time. If you do need to leave right away, thank you guys so much for being here. Just a reminder that this webinar is being recorded and it will be made available for anybody to view. A couple of different places that you can find it. So the first place you can find it, right here, click on this question mark in the upper right-hand corner. This will take you to the support site. Here on the support site, you'll see our list of upcoming webinars and recorded webinar series, February 2016. I've already uploaded yesterday's webinar, so we have the Complete Your Profile from yesterday, as well as the Power of Connect webinar. And you'll also see all of the upcoming webinars. The second place that you can find this is youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. We have all of our webinars uploaded there, going back for the past couple of years, as well as some other things like short education moments, 3 to 5 minute videos that show just specific areas of the system. And I'd also absolutely love it if you gave us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. Give us a like up here. We also do webinar announcements and tips and tricks and release announcements and things like that up here on our YouTube and Facebook channel as well. All right, I'd like to open this up to questions. Questions, ask any question you want. The only silly question is the unasked question. So let's see, we do have one question up here from Chris, but please submit your questions now. Chris says, if I want to catch my revenue received to my business number for thank you for closed businesses already submitted, can that be done? So if you haven't been submitting them up to this point, what will end up happening is if you've been submitting them on paper, and if you go and submit them again electronically, that's going to kind of mess up the numbers because it's going to double all of those for your chapter unless you work with your vice president to go back and remove all the previous ones that you've put in. So my recommendation is probably, unless it's only been for a couple of weeks, is to probably just start from this point forward. Again, I'm a member for 12 years. When this first came out, I had to start from zero the same way everybody else did. So does that help explain it a little bit? Again, you're welcome to work with your vice president, but my recommendation is probably just to start from this point forward. All right. Any other questions? Let's see, Marshall says, I noticed that my one-to-one meeting shows up twice because we both entered it on different days. Okay, so you can correct that. As long as these slips are fresh, so that the vice president hasn't submitted the POMS report yet, you can make corrections. You can do that by going in to review any of your slips. It doesn't matter which one. So let's say review my one-to-one slips. And up here at the top, it says edit, delete slips, edit, delete slips. If I click that, that will take me over to any slips that I can go in and edit that have been input. Oh, I happen to be back on the live system. Hold on a second. Let me go to the test system here. All right, so if I go to edit, delete slips, these are all of the slips that I've input that have not been completed yet. So for example, let's say that I had this this one-to-one with David Nichols, but David submitted it as well, but for a different day. I can just go ahead and delete my copy of it here by clicking the delete button. Or if it's something where I had the one-to-one with somebody different or the referral information needs to be updated, I can click on the edit button, make any changes that I need to make on the referral slip, and resubmit it. Keep in mind, if you change the person, Jane will get a new referral slip reminder. However, the previous person won't be notified, so you do need to let them know manually. All right, does that answer your question, Marshall? Chris says, can we submit visitors as referrals online once they have attended? So this wouldn't be the way to submit visitors. Visitors will be submitted by the visitor host. So the visitor host will enter the visitor, and again, you should get credit for that as a V, as a 1 under your V column in the POMS report once that has been submitted and approved by the vice president. All right, hopefully that helps, Chris. Chris has another question. Are there any plans for an app for BNI Connect? Yes, there are plans for an app. This year, that is one of the #1 goals for this year. There was 3 goals for this year. 1, make BNI Connect faster. That is happening this coming Monday. We are rolling out a CDN system. That is happening this Monday. The next 2 things that we're doing is developing an API, and we are working on an app. Both of those should be happening in 2016. So stay tuned. It's not going to happen next month, but it is happening this year. So yes, we are looking forward to that. Marshall said, what is the best way to let the chapter know about a substitute for me next week? So you have a substitute coming in your place for next week's meeting is what I'm assuming you're saying. You can either email your chapter, or you can, if you wanted to, you could register them as a visitor for your chapter. Some chapters are doing that. You can go to regional website here, and if you go to find a chapter and look for your chapter name, one of the things you could do is click on visit this chapter and register your substitute as a visitor for the chapter. That'll remind your substitute that they're going to the meeting as well. Although it's not the official way for it, there really isn't an official way to register substitutes. That is one way that a lot of people are doing it. So does that help? Clifford said there's already an app for the iPhone. There is an app that's floating out there. I think David Furman is the author. BNI Connect's mobile friendly. That is not an official app. That is one that he developed on his own, something that we haven't shut down, but it is also unsupported. So anything that you might be doing with that particular app, it's kind of at your own risk. Is it inputting the stuff into BNI Connect? Yes, it is. Very special technique that he's using, which I'd be happy to talk about sometime. But the official BNI app should be coming out later this year. All right, what other questions? That was the last question on my list. All right, if there's no additional questions, what I'm going to do is to say thank you guys so much for being here with me today. The next webinar, and a great referral for me, tomorrow, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific, we're going to be talking about connecting with other members. So we're going to learn how to dive deeper into BNI Connect in order to use the global nature of the system, connections and testimonials and groups and all of the social media part of BNI Connect. That is tomorrow at 3 p.m., followed up on Thursday with member tools and reports. So a good referral for me. Please let the other members of your chapter know about these webinars. I'd love to see more and more people on the webinars. Deborah says, do you obtain credit if you do a recorded webinar? My answer to that would be yes. So as long as you are participating in the ongoing learning process, I would say to give yourself a credit even for a recorded webinar. All right. Cool. Well, I look forward to seeing you all, hopefully some of you tomorrow, and if not, on a future webinar. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone, and happy connecting.